Welcome everybody to the Single and Stiletto Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette, and I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Robert Manni. He's the author of The Guy's Guide to Love, and I'm so excited to have him here today because he's going to answer the question that I get asked a million times a day, which is, who should pay for a date? So ladies, before Robert tells you the answer to that question, Robert, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you and what made you write this book.
Okay, I'm a New Yorker. Background is in advertising and marketing. I was inspired to write my novel, The Guy's Guide to Love. Here it is, because I thought there was a growing chasm in communication between men and women. They really have kind of grown further and further apart. And since the book came out, they've even grown further apart because of all the technology and everybody's texting and swiping, and really got to make a connection face to face, and we're getting further and further away from each other. And the purpose of my book is really to have women understand how men think, and I did it through a story, a novel, and the power story, and I want to make it fun and bring the characters to life, and it's for women.
Awesome. Okay, so Robert, answer this question: who should pay for a date?
Okay.
We're talking about a first date, by the way, right?
Yep. So a little drum roll. If the guy asks, I think a guy should ask a woman out. It's easy. It'll work out. It can happen any way nowadays, but I think it's easier to just get into the flow if a guy asks a woman out and the guy should pay. Now, it's just something that I don't have any elasticity on. If a guy asks a woman out the first time, guy should pick up the check, period. Now, that doesn't mean the first date should be going out to an elaborate dinner. I think a first date should be coffee or a cocktail, and if it goes great, maybe you have a second drink and some appetizers, or you go someplace else or whatever, and then you call it a night. You want to keep it short and simple. The first date, but the guy should pick. It should be no question about it. Guy asks you out, he wants to meet up, pick up the check. If a woman might say to herself, this guy's expecting me to do something because he's paying for me. Well, she can offer to pay half, and if she's really adamant about it, and she won't let the guy pay for it, she wants to pay half, fine. That's her prerogative. But I think most guys will go along with the program. If you let them start sloughing off at the beginning and splitting everything, then that's how the relationship's going to be. I think it's much better if you get into an organic relationship where the guy picks up the first date, he offers on the second date, and over time, unless the woman doesn't pick up any check, the guy will things will kind of work themselves out. There's different ways of paying for things, and put sex aside. I'm not talking about sex, but you know what? You can get a guy a bottle of wine if you don't want to pick up the check sometime. Get him a bottle of wine, cook him dinner. There's different ways of showing that the partnership is on equal footing, that it's not just, if the guy's a hedge fund manager and you're working at a gym, okay, he should pay all the time. But if you're both, working, corporate jobs, and you're both in competitive environments, it's still something that should be done. The guy asks you out, he should pay the first date. And keep it going until the woman opens up her pocketbook and says, hey, I'll take care of this one, or let's split this one, or whatever. And it should be kind of a no-brainer. But nowadays, people get into this thing where they hang out, they don't know what a date is. It's like there's all this who should pay. And ladies, let the guy see. It's a good test to see if he's a gentleman. He asks you out, first date, he should pay. After that, you can work it out organically and see what feels right. First date, he asks you out, he should pay. What do you think, Suzanne?
I completely agree, because I think I'm old-fashioned, and I think when a man is courting a woman, he should pay for her on the first date. If he asked her out, he should pay. Now, that being said, one of the things that I think that women tend to do that I actually think is a huge mistake is they'll do the quote-unquote fake wallet pull-out on the first date, and they'll say, oh, can I pay half, when their real intention is he better not take the money because I'll be pissed, right?
Right.
And what I tell ladies is don't do the fake wallet pullout because if he takes the money, you cannot blame him. You offered, he took it.
Yeah,
but also,
don't play games.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. If you really want to pay half, then pay half. But don't get mad at him for taking the money you offered. But that being said, I just want to go back to a point that Robert made is it's true. If you offer to pay half from the very first date, you're actually setting the precedence for subsequent dates because then it becomes actually, I think, more awkward on the second and third date because you already offered to pay half on the first date. So now you're going to feel like, oh, I should offer to pay half again because it's a second date, third. And then it's just like, it gets really awkward. It shouldn't be, I totally don't think it should be, we need to split everything 50-50 or he paid 3 times and I need to pay 3 times. It's like Robert said, do what feels right. But the first date, let the man pay.
Yeah, I think it takes a huge sigh of relief, a huge onus off everything. And as you go along, maybe he picks up the second date, the third date, it doesn't matter. So you get him tickets to a game, you get him that bottle of wine, you take him out sometime, you cook him a meal. Or whatever. There's ways of, if you want to have things on equal footing and you don't want to feel like he's paying for everything, or you don't want to take advantage of him, and you want the guy to feel like, hey, I go out other women and they're paying half. You just want to do kind of what works. Now, I will say I dated somebody and I went out, I don't know, about 5 dates and never bought me a drink, anything. And I just knew intuitively she was never going to crack her wallet for anything. And I finally said, can you get this glass of wine? And of course, that turned out to be the last date because I just knew that she said, I never pay for anything. And I'm thinking, okay, great. That was good in 1979, but it's not going to work. The thing is, she didn't do anything to, she didn't, hey, I'll bake a cake for you or something. There was nothing, or come over and I'll take care of something. I'll order in. There's got to be, everybody's struggling with money nowadays, and no matter how much money you have, it's still an issue. So you don't want the focus on the wallet to be the issue. So to get things off to the right start, let the guy pay for the first date. Don't pull your wallet out. If he doesn't, then you kind of know what you're in for. That could work for you. That's fine. And if it doesn't, and you may not want to be felt put upon because, if he's paying, then he thinks I owe him something. You don't want that either. So you have to do what feels right. But I would strongly recommend, and I think Suzanne would agree, that first date, he asks you out, he pays, you don't pull out your wallet. From there, you do what feels right for you. But you want to make it feel like everybody's contributing, everybody's sharing. However you do that, that's not necessarily I pay, he pays, we split. You don't want to even have to think about it. You just want to flow.
Exactly. And also I find that some women, it's really hard for them to actually receive. And so sometimes it makes them uncomfortable. So they feel like they have to either always offer to pay half or pay for the whatever it is. But sometimes you have to let a guy do things for you, but don't take advantage of it. I mean, like that story that Robert just said about the woman who went out with him 5 times and she didn't pay once. That's completely ridiculous in this day and age. I mean, that's just a taker, and she's taking advantage of the situation, and that's not good either. So you don't want to be that person either. It's a balance, and go with the flow and do what feels right. And if let's just say he takes you out to dinner and maybe you guys go out for drinks after or for dessert, then you pick that up, but do something.
Right. Yeah. And after, if somebody picks up the check for you, I don't know if this is crazy or not, but when my wife picked up lunch the other day, I said thank you. And I don't have to say thank you, we're married, but you know what, you want to keep dating when you're married. So I say thank you. She does something nice, thank you. I pay for something, she says thank you. So it's just nice. It's nice to be appreciative, and you just don't want to get off on the foot of a new relationship where you're thinking about who's going to pay.
Exactly.
And I has a problem with it, picking up the drinks on the first date. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, because he's on his best behavior.
Exactly, you would think.
Yeah.
And if it's his best behavior, that's not so great.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that you added in the part about saying thank you, because I can't tell you how many men have actually told me where a woman won't say thank you, and that irritates men more than you will ever know, because they feel like they've been taken for granted and that they should just pay. It's like, ladies, thank you goes a long way. And I don't, and when I was out there dating, when a guy would take me out, not only would I say thank you on the date at the end of the date, but I would text him the next day and say thank you, even if I wasn't interested, or obviously if I was interested, but you say thank you again. It's proper etiquette.
Right, exactly. And it's so easy, and it's just, you want it to be something that's just muscle memory. You don't even think about it. It's just somebody does something for you. Thank you. It's like opening up the door. Like there was, for a while, people were saying, "Oh, don't let a guy open up the door for you." But it's just polite. And I nowadays, I don't think any woman or anybody says, "Don't open the door for me." If you hold the door for somebody, you say thanks, and that's just makes it easier. Just be appreciative for the small niceties in life. It just go with the flow, and it starts out. You make a man a man. He asks you out, he picks up the check, and you say thank you.
Exactly. All right. Well, these have been some great tips. So, Robert, tell our audience how they can find you in your awesome book.
Okay, so robertmanni.com is my website and blog. The book, once again, The Guy's Guide to Love. You can find it on Amazon, any of the e-tailers, and some bookstores. And Guys Radio, my podcast on iTunes.
Awesome. And ladies, I highly recommend you go get Robert's book, because I'm not a big reader. When I picked up his book, I couldn't put it down. It was so good. If you like Sex and the City, you will love his book. Trust me.
Thanks so much, Suzanne. And thank you, everybody. I hope I could be helpful.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you'd like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. If you'd like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. And if you would like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man based on scientific research, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.